Welcome in, Biz Bees. This is part 3 to our Futures Pennant. In our last tutorial, we finished out by putting in our gradient in the bottom and the right of our pennant and putting in a logo and the name of this university into the building and blended it and kind of distorted it, made it the perspective fit with the building. And you can kind of see we're making some progress. We did deviate just a little bit from the example one that I first created. This is kind of where we're at. In this tutorial, we're going to add some text into here. So I'm going to add the name, our name, my name, and the degrees and place I went to high school, and a couple other pieces of text and logo into this. And that should round out some of the content that we'll be putting in, and then we'll finish up with a couple more things in part 4 of our tutorial. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So I'm going to come over here to our example with our tutorial, and I'm going to click on the type tool, and I'm going to start with typing in my name here, and I'm just going to click in there and I'm going to type in my name. And it left off with the text or the font that I had in there before, which is the Au revoir Next Condensed. It's a really fat, thick font, and it's a little bit closer together, which I like because that allows me to make the text a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click on my Move tool here and just go ahead and make this bigger. I'm just going to click and drag this out. And the reason why I'm choosing this font is because it is a little bit fatter, and this is going to there's an effect or a style that we're going to apply at the end of this tutorial in part 4, where it kind of gives our text a little bit of a fuzzy, felt texture to it. So I'm just going to kind of tab over here and double check something. I did capitalize my whole name there. So I'm going to come over here and show you how that works. Oops, I forgot to hit the enter return key to apply that size there. So I'm just going to bring this up and pop it up here just a little bit, and then hit the enter return key so that pushes in those changes. So rather than come in and retype this with my caps locks key enabled, I'm actually going to come over to my characters panel and click on my characters panel there, and you're going to see a lot of options, a lot more options than you see in the properties panel up in here. I love this panel. I use this panel all the time, especially when you're doing graphics. It's really important that you have this panel linked up in your file panel there, or in your panels. Right in here in the middle, you're going to see some different automatic kind of like apply type things, and you're going to see the two capital T's. That means that's going to be uppercase. So when you click on that, it's going to turn all of your characters into uppercase. You can also mess with the kerning of your characters, and I like to do this when I need to spread my text out, or bring my text in, because this is already condensed. It's already pretty much where I need it to be, so I don't need to mess with that. But I do like to use kerning a lot. So something that we might use in the future. If you look at my example here, I have some other text to go in, and I'm going to go ahead and type those in, and then I'm going to bring in this logo here in just a second. So I need to type in all these things, and you'll notice that I've got a couple different colors here. So just going to go ahead and bring in my type tool again. And I'm actually going to do these as separate lines instead of as like one large paragraph. So I'm just going to click and then type in, I am a Crater High School alum. Not slum. Can't type here. There we go. And I want to change this font to, instead of heavy, I want to change this to regular. Maybe even medium, actually. I think that's what I'd like to do. And then I'm going to type in when I graduated, which was a long, long time ago. 1999, and I'm going to just highlight the Crater alum part with the comma and turn that into red. So over here in my character panel with it still open, I'm going to click on the color picker, And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually use the eyedropper tool and grab the same exact red that I used for that color. I know it's in the very corner there, but just a lot of times, sometimes you make a slight adjustment to a color, and like maybe you didn't use that. You maybe kind of had a little bit of slight of variation down in here, right? Where that color was, and you don't remember what that was or what that exact number is. So a lot of times I'll just come back in and use the eyedropper tool to make sure I'm consistent with my color throughout. So that's why I do that. So I'm gonna click that. And then from here, what I'm gonna do, because I like the way this is, and in fact, I think I wanna spread this out just a little bit. So like I was talking about just a minute ago, and in fact, I wanna come over here and look, I didn't capitalize these. So I wanna come over here and undo the all caps, and then I actually want to spread this out a little bit. So I'm going to spread this out by, like, say 25, make that just a little bit more spread out, and then I also want to make this just a little bit bigger. So I think that's probably about in the ballpark where I want to be. I might have to make this an adjustment here, because these guys are a little bit longer. So we'll see. We're just going to start there. Oh, forgot to hit the enter return key. Rookie mistake. There we go. Hit the enter return key. So what I'm going to do is, rather than just like retype all this and reapply all those same styles that I just did, I'm just going to duplicate this layer. And to do that, I'm just going to click the Alt key, and you'll notice that there's a double arrow. I'm on the Move tool, by the way. If you haven't selected the Move tool, make sure your Move tool is selected. And when you press the Alt key, it's going to give you this duplicate layer or duplicate arrow. And all you do is hold the Alt key down and click and drag down. And so what that's going to do is just going to duplicate that same exact layer. And I'm going to do that 2 more times here. And I might have to move some of this stuff around. But the reason why I want to do this is I just click on my type tool here, and then click on where it says Crater High Alum. And then all I have to do here is retype that. So I'm going to put in a Bachelor's of Art this is the one that's really long, in English Literature. That's where I got my start, English Literature. And then just go ahead and click off of that. You will have to click over here and grab into the layer there to put that change in. And then here, Masters of Art in Teaching. So maybe now looking at this, seeing how far away these are, I'm going to highlight and just grab all of those right there. And then maybe I'll bring that ligature back in, or the kerning just back in just a little bit. Maybe not all the way to 0, maybe to a 5. And then maybe I'll just kind of bring this back here, kind of like that. I might play around with this a little bit more. Maybe I'll make my name spread out a little bit more. If I want to kind of match with what I did with my first example when I first set out to do this. So you'll notice here that I've got some icons to go into here. So I definitely want to make sure I get those in, and I'm going to go ahead, and I notice right away that I am over here just a little bit more. Just give me a little bit more room to move, to bring in some content, and my Move tool is not cooperating. Come on, Move tool. I'll just grab over the layers. I'm just going to shift click those layers over there and move that over just a little bit more. Okay, we'll kind of go with that. Go ahead, and I'm going to save real quick. And so next I want to bring in those icons that I have. And those icons just more or less kind of add a visual element to my piece. And I really like using those types of things just because it adds just a little bit more to just text. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and I just Google searched for these icons, by the way. A lot of times you can find these and you can bring them in. So I'm going to open that, and it's going to rasterize it, which is fine. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I just need to, this layer is not locked, so I just need to click and drag this over and then drop it in. It's way too big right now to work, and it's black. So before I actually bring it in down here and make it fit, next to my text, I'm going to go ahead and make this white. Best way to do this, and I'm going to rename this, by the way. I'm going to rename this layer. Let's just call it diploma or degree. And so to make this white, I'm just going to essentially put a color overlay on this rather than coloring it in with like the paint bucket tool. I like to use the color overlay more than coloring it in with the gradient or the paint bucket tool. So down in the bottom of your layers panel, click on the FX button, which is your layer styles, and click on color overlay. And we want to make this white. And the reason why it's not doing anything right now in the preview is because it's set to multiply. So you want to make sure that's set to normal, and that will make it white. So I'm just going to go ahead and resize this guy and bring it in over here. I'm going to zoom in so I can make sure that I get this exactly where I want to position it. And just make it a little bit smaller there. And this is a really simple icon. You wouldn't want to do this with a very complex icon because you won't be able to see it all. But it's just enough to kind of give it a little bit of a marker, kind of like a bullet point, but just more style, And that's why I like to use these. That looks like it's off, so I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that that's lined up correctly. That's lined up correctly. Let's make sure that these are even. You can see these guide markers. When you start moving stuff around, you get these purple things that tell you where you need to be, whether you're off or not. So that all looks like it's even. So I'm going to bring in this just a little bit closer and bump that up just a little bit with my arrow key. And then next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the text. I'm going to duplicate this icon, duplicate the layer with my move tool and hit the Alt key and then click and drag that down. Notice that my purple there is, and if you hit the Shift key, it'll keep it exactly in line. So you're going to kind of want to just use those guides to help you out. Make sure you get that all straight. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom one. So you just hit the Shift key and the Alt key at the same time, and it'll come down straight, perfectly in line, and it's going to tell you, see how can you get those numbers, so you can kind of see there, like where, if we're off or not. So I think that's pretty close, and I think I'll just leave it just about like that. So see, it just gives it a little bit of a visual element. And makes it just look just a little bit nicer. And that's what I really, really like about that. I might want to spread my name out just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here to the kerning and make that about 25. Maybe make this slightly over. Okay. And then I'm going to do something with this text because I want to keep this all in a group and make it easier to move around rather than trying to click all these different ones. So what I'm going to do over here in my layers panel, I'm going to click on my name, and I'm actually going to move it up to above where those icons are. Because for me, I like having my layers in the order that it appears visually. So my name is going to go above there. And I could order these in the same way, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave that for time's sake. So I'm just going to highlight all these 7 layers. So the 3 text layers with my degrees and the 3 text layers with the icons and then my name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control G or Command G. And that's going to create a group. And then I'm going to name that group, and that's just going to be like name and degree group. What this is going to do is this is going to allow me to move these around without having to select each one of those layers individually. So with this group selected, if you hit the Option key or Command key, you'll be able to move this whole group around without having to move them individually. This is a little bit more efficient and keeps it all together a little bit better. So if you need to just tweak it just a little bit to create a little extra space, where you don't have it, that's really important. So, and it's just a little more efficient, and it keeps your layers panel a little bit cleaner also. So you don't have to do that as a group if you like. It's just something that I like to do with certain things, when I'm building out a document. So let's go ahead and save as we go. I'm going to go ahead and close out that little icon tab. I don't need to save it. And let's go to our example and kind of see what I need to build out next. I'm going to skip over this section real quick. I'm going to go over to this section to the right. And I'm going to focus in on this section right here. So I need the BIS logo. I have some text. I have a little bit of an icon here to kind of create a visual element, next to the text. And it was just something that I was playing around with there, and I kind of liked it, so I kept it. So let's start with the BIS logo, and then we'll move into the text there and then kind of build the rest of that out. So I'm going to come over here to the right side of our pennant and address some of that. You can always zoom out and kind of see how things are going, right? And so this is going to get built out like right in here. So I'm just using the space bar to move around. So the space bar, when you're zoomed in a Photoshop document, you get this little hand icon, and it allows you to move around without moving something around accidentally. So this is a really handy shortcut key to get used to using. So I'm going to go and open up our BIS logo. And I believe the one that I used is the white one. Although I'm going to put I'm just going to make this all white anyway. So there's going to be some orange in this. I'm going to use a color overlay. And the reason that you'll notice that in my design here, I've really kept everything consistent. And this is the challenge when designing something with a color scheme, and then you bring in a logo that doesn't go with your color scheme. You've got to decide how you're going to handle that. And the way I've decided to handle that is to basically turn everything white and to kind of match, with my color scheme. So I'm keeping that consistent. Even though the logo itself, the Creator Biz logo, has white and orange and sometimes black in it, I'm just going to make it all white, and just so that way it fits my design. And that's what I'm going for here. So I'm going to click over here, click and drag this back into our piece, and I need to resize this, make this bigger. And I'm going to pretty much bring this kind of right into here and use this space. My Photoshop just crashed. This is why you save as you go all the time. So let's bring that back up, hopefully. So that's why you save as you go. It's just the way it is. I'm going to move these around a little bit so that way I have my example on the left and the one I'm working on the right. So save as you go. That's just the way it goes, and that's why it's super important. Okay, I'm going to open that BIS logo again. This is not in a Creative Cloud. And let's see here. It's probably because I got a lot of stuff open here, you guys. So my computer is struggling just a little bit. And the BIS logo I want is that one. Okay. So I just need to click the V key for my move tool, click and drag that over, and then drop it in. And kind of do exactly where I was just at. So luckily I wasn't too far, and I saved, and I was saving as I went. So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to kind of position that right about there, hit the enter return key to make those changes, and I'm going to put in BIS logo. And then from there I need to do a color overlay. So I'm going to go to my layer style and then select color overlay. And click on my color picker and just select white. So we're keeping that consistent with our color scheme. And then I have some text that I want to put in. Now here's the deal. I want to put in my text right in here, and I want it to fit in that space, right? But if I come in here with my text tool, I can only make rectangle text tools or rectangular text boxes. So this could create a problem when I'm trying to type this in and make, so you can see how that would overhang, right? And I want it so it kind of goes into that direction. I want it to go into that and fit into that space. So here's what I need to do first. I'm going to go delete that out. And with my text tool selected, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and set my text tool to white. So when I do put text in there, it's going to show up as white. Now, I'm going to go back to my favorite tool. I'm going to go back to my pen tool. So I'm going to click on the pen tool, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom path or a custom area for my text to go in. So I'm actually going to kind of set it to kind of about I kind of want to go in just a little bit of our logo here. because I want to bring in that icon for the profile. Like I'm bringing in a resume profile. That's what one of the requirements is for this project. So, and it's going to go underneath here. So I want to kind of give a little bit of space for that icon to go in there that I have. So I'm just going to click right about in the middle of the biz logo there. And then I'm going to press my shift key and then come down to here to the bottom. And I kind of want to be in just the inside of that line of our thing. So I'm just going to click that so it's straight. And then I'm going to come out here and click about where the edge of the logo is there. And then press my shift key as well, and then come up to here to the top and then complete that. So now this is a path, okay? And then with that path, I'm going to take my type tool, click my type tool, and then I'm going to bring my type tool in, and you're going to see the type tool change. So look on the outside, it's square. When I bring it on the inside, it turns round. What this is going to do is it's going to create a text box that fills, or that is in the shape of this path that we just created. So it's going to create that bottom slant there instead of a rectangle. So all I have to do is click on the inside there, and it's going to bring my text in. So what it's going to do is it's going to bring in my text, and it's going to fit in that box. And it's going to, change the path or the text so it fits in that side there. So it's pretty cool. So it makes it a lot easier trying to adjust my text inside that little space. That's a little bit odd. That's not like rectangular or square. So from here, I just need to do a little copying and pasting of my profile. So rather than type it, I'm just going to go ahead and there's my report. I'm going to go ahead and save. Right, save as we go. Save as we go. Close a window here. Maybe that helps sometimes. Come back over to my example, and I'm going to take that text, and I'm just going to copy and paste it, so that way you guys don't have to watch me type. So I'm going to Control C, come back over here. I will make this text red, so I'm going to Control V, and I want to change. I want to change a couple things about this text. One is the size. So I'm just click on the Move tool, and then in the size here, I'm going to just see where I need to go. See how small I want to make it. The other thing that I want to do is change, bring my lines a little bit closer together. So in here, I can adjust my lead. You can set it to auto there, or you can adjust it so you can make it closer together. So you'll see a little bit of ipsum lorem text got left in there. So I'm going to take that out. That happens every once in a while. And I'm just going to grab my Move tool, and then this time I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so I can really play around with how that's going to fit in there. I want to maximize the space as much as possible. The other thing I want to do is I want to make this justified. So in the paragraph tab of the character panel, I'm going to click on the justified piece so it all kind of comes together. Now I can really come in and maybe play a little bit more with the size of the text. And I just want to make sure that I've maximized that, and also that at the same time that it looks good. So maybe I go with the 14 point, and then maybe I play with the kerning here so that it spreads it out, or go the opposite way. So you just want to make sure that you make it look good as possible. There is that space there in between. I could maybe bring this out. No, I'm using my move tool there. So I think I can bring this text out just a little bit more, or make it a little bit narrower, depending. So, so I can play around with this just a little bit to see if I can maybe make this just a little bit bigger, play with the kerning. So it's just a, I think I like that. Well, yeah, let's play with that. Let's leave it that way. Okay. Let's see. How are we looking here? One of the things that I think I did do with my name to give me a little bit of space here is I adjusted the height of the ligature of these characters. So right now it's set to 100%. I made these, I think, a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more compact. So that allowed me to get in some more space there and make this text just a little bit larger and spread it out just a little bit more. So there we go. I think that's where I want to leave that. So I know I can kind of come back. That's what happens every once in a while, You forget something and you remember you did something. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit with my move tool. Bring this down just a little bit so it's away from the Lego or from the logo. And if you kind of look at here, my example, it's not it's just a little bit different. I don't know what the difference is there. Maybe it's a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it for now for time's sake. I think if I were not, doing this as a tutorial, I would play with this a little bit more and figure out a way to close these gaps just a little bit. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it so that way you guys don't have to watch me play around with that some more. So the next thing I need to do is bring in that icon that I have that goes right here that indicates this is kind of like a profile point. So I'm going to tab. Nope, I don't need to tab over. Get out of that. I need to open that file. And that file is this guy right here. Profile, blank profile right there. And you'll notice that it's gray. So I will need to do something with that. So I'm going to bring that in over here. And the way I have this is I have it kind of set in the middle, so there's a little bit of an overlap. So I just need to make this just a tad bit bigger so it covers the top and bottom of the text. And hit the enter return key. I need to make this, I'm going to make this a profile icon. Dang it. Profile icon. Sometimes you have to. Okay, come on. There it goes. All right. Now I need to change that to white. So I'm going to use a layer style again to do a color overlay and then change that to white. And so again, I want to kind of go back to my example. I have just kind of like half of this, right? I've cut off half of it. But I don't want to destroy this icon if I need to make an adjustment to it. So I'm not going to delete anything. I'm just going to use a layer mask. So I'm going to click on my marquee tool here. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and just drop the opacity down so I can see what's going on. And then I'm going to take my marquee tool and just essentially align it with the edge of that text there and drag it down and then drag it over. And I'm just going to leave it just kind of like right there. And it looks like I'm a little off on the top, so I can use my arrow key to bump up that, my marquee selection so it covers the whole top there. And it's okay if it went over. I just don't want to be under because then I have to do some more work after that. So I just do that. And with that selected, I come down to my layers panel and click on the layer mask. And that's going to take away the one half of the icon and leave, the other half. So, and I could leave this there as like kind of, I don't want to leave it like that with the opacity because it looks kind of gray. And that's what happens with white on black when you drop the opacity. It gives it a gray color. So I'm just going to come back over here and make that white and just kind of leave it like that. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking so far. Let's see here. Let's go back to, I'm going to go ahead and save and come back to my example and see what else I need to do. I need to get this logo, this Oregon logo in here and the position teacher and then the salary, the average salary as it's outlined in the project guidelines. So let's go back over here and zoom in. And it looks like this is kind of where I think I screwed up, is I made this a little bit longer so that would all fit in there. So I might have to make an adjustment there. That's probably what's going on. Okay, so let's start with the Oregon logo first. So let's open that. And I have just an Oregon outline there. And it's a PNG, so I don't need to do anything and unlock that and then bring that in and drop it in. Let's go ahead and rename it first. So Oregon outline. And then let's go ahead and apply a layer style to that of color overlay and make it white. Let's resize it so it fits in that space. I think, here we go. Kind of just like that. I think Sorry about that, guys. I want to maybe make that just a little bit smaller. And bring this up, and then bring this over. Kind of push it just like that. There, bring that down, bring this one down. So they're kind of in line with each other. That looks good. Okay. Then I can adjust this. I think, let's see here. Grab my text tool so do it that way. Otherwise it'll resize the text box. Okay. And then let's bring this, let's see here. Let's look at my example. So then the guy is actually a little bit over. So that's pretty close. That way it looks like I can make this text a little bit bigger. So let's do that. And maybe even bigger. Maybe, what did I use? Kind of come back here. Oh, that's 19. That's 19-point font. So that's a lot bigger. Nope, that's 16. It's 16 with, okay. So that's why. Let's make that 16. There we go. Okay, now we're starting to look like the other example. Grab our move tool and move this over. And let's see here. Let's make this the kerning here. I think this was at 19. There we go. Bring this up just a little bit. And let's go ahead and make the kerning 0. Let's make it -5. Shoot. We're slightly off here because of how I did this. So I'm going to have to redo this real quick. So bear with me, guys. All right. Okay. Let's come back over to here. We need to bring in a text box here. And this is just going to say teacher. And I want this label to be all caps. So I'm going to come over here and make that all caps. And I'm going to drop it down to fit. I think that actually looks pretty good. So I'm just going to leave that there. And then another text piece in here right in the middle. And then this is going to be 58,000 for the average salary of a teacher in Oregon. And I'm just going to use the K to kind of symbolize that. And instead of the, red, I'm going to make this white. And I'm also going to change it to, let's see, make that white. And then I'm going to change this to, I'm going to change it to demi-bold so it sticks out. Maybe I can get away with just bold. See how big that ends up being. That looks better. Okay. And let's push that up just a little bit. There we go. Cool. That's starting to look really, really good. All right. So let's check our example to see if we did a good job matching it up. We're really, really close there, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with how it turned out. Let's make sure we save. Before we get too far so we don't end up with a crash again like we did just a little bit ago. All right, we're looking pretty good. I think we're gonna stop right here in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're gonna bring in some last minute logos of things that I'm interested in. And then from there, we're going to do some really cool stuff. So I thought we'd get this done in one more tutorial. I think we're going to end up with just a couple more parts. In the last one, we're going to bring in that felt texture and the stitching in our left part of our pennant. Really give it that kind of that texture, that really cool wow factor of our pennant.